Thank you everyone for tuning in. I have Miss Elizabeth Overstreet here with me today, and she is a life coach. She's a dating coach, a self-love, self-care coach that helps people to form better habits for themselves, to realize that, if they don't love themselves, then there's no way, to love others. And that to self-love, basically, to have self-love is basically to have um, your best life. That's the way to live your best life. So I have been interviewing Miss Overstreet on how she feels um, basically having love for yourself will help you to reach a place in your life where you are able to release things and let things go and to just care for yourself and just to make the best decisions for yourself all the way around. And Ms. Overstreet, I would like to ask you, was there anyone in your life that taught you how to have self-love, or was there anyone in particular that came into your life that helped you get to where you are today?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been very fortunate. There's been a number of people that I've had, in different periods of my life that had a different meaning of helping me to get to that, next step or helping me gain a better understanding. But I did have a mentor that was really helpful. When just to give a little background, I've been married. I have a daughter. I'm divorced. I'm in a relationship now. So I've been through the whole, all the different things of dating as a single person, dating as someone who was a single parent after divorce, so being a divorcee, being in a marriage. So I have all those components to who I am. But there was a period I wasn't always this person that practiced self-love. I wasn't always positive. And I had this mentor that really pretty much said to me, it's you. You're the problem. You're the one exhibiting certain behaviors. You're the one getting in your own way. You're the one stopping your own progress. And I was like, me? It's not me, because I was negative. I was not accountable to myself. I made excuses for not doing things or, going for things I wanted to do. And so they really pushed against my comfort zone, thank God. And then I think going through those different experiences of being, dating as a single person, being married, being divorced, being a single parent, that made me change and morph into a different person as well. So I think the self-love component, I didn't always have it. I don't think that it's an easy thing to achieve. I think it takes a high level of self-awareness, and someone kind of pointing it out to you sometimes, because you can't always see yourself because you're close to yourself. But I think going through those different experiences and changing my mindset really helped me to change and reshape, my relationship with myself and to appreciate, who I am. But I also said, we were talking about this earlier before the show, that a lot of times, you see people out there, I love myself, I'm great, I'm amazing. And I think you all are amazing and great, and you should love yourself. But the balance of the self-love is also holding yourself accountable. It's facing things that are uncomfortable about yourself. It's also addressing where there's gaps or patterns of behavior, because you're also part of the component leading to that outcome and behavior.
Yeah, there are a few things I'm working on right now, such as snoozing my alarm. That's like, all right, let's stop doing that, because you're never going to get better if you keep snoozing. So this morning it was literally, get up, Jessica. Just get up. Because I was like, no, just 5 more minutes. Like one time it was like 5 more minutes, another, oh no, go ahead and get up. You need to get up because you know how you are. So it is definitely self-awareness and practicing and just trying to do better, period.
And move the phone like further away from your bed. So you have to you have to get out the bed, and then it's kind of hard sometimes to get back in the bed because you're like, oh, I'm up now. You got to
Yeah.
little thing. And the other balance of that, Jessica, don't beat yourself up, is sometimes you need to just rest and chill. I think we are all moving at such a frantic pace that we're not always stopping to smell the roses. Like, we're really just constantly going. So sometimes your body is saying to you, I need to just sleep and relax. So it's just finding your cadence and your balance.
You're right about that. Relaxing is something I'm learning to do because I'm here, there, and everywhere. What steps did you take to be able to be a life coach for others?
Wow. So I fell into it quite accidentally. I was always the person people would come to for relationship advice, and I just had an uncanny ability to look at it from both sides and to really build a practical approach to the two sides reconciling. And then I grew up in a family where my parents were married over 50 years, my grandparents over 60 years, and then I have aunts and uncles who were married over 40 years. So when I got divorced, I lasted 10 years. It was hard for me to even like go to my parents and say, hey, I'm going to do this. But my parents were very supportive of me through the process. But that being said, I had to go through things that made me learn how to love myself, right? Because sometimes we put so much meaning in our partnership and how that person loves us. And that could be the way we self-love, right? Because we are putting all this pressure on them. And if they're not treating us a certain way or making us feel a certain way, then we may lack that own self-love for ourselves. And that's not fair to put that on another person, right? So I think when I went through my divorce, I learned so much about myself. I have a daughter. Just being a single mom, having to be resilient, having to be resourceful, having to make more decisions, having to be an example to my daughter, because now here I'm affecting another person. I really had to get myself together, right? I had to really like make sure that what I'm telling her to do, I'm practicing, because kids observe more than listen, right? So they're watching you and they're modeling your behavior. So I think like all of those different experiences shaped me and made me really think about self-love differently. And just so everyone knows, even though I coach people in relationships and I help them and I give them tips, I still, have to continually grow myself. There's always going to be gaps, right, with your self-love, because it's a journey and a journey takes time and it's continuous. So it's a continual process.
That's very true. A way that I've worked on my self-love is basically writing down things that help me, as in like, instead of feeding a negative thought, I'll say, no, I'm harmonious, I'm beautiful, I'm smart. I love to help people. Just, focus on more positive things. So are there any things that you do on a daily basis that you could possibly share with, everyone that actually help you with your self-love practice?
I think one thing you just said is, how you say these positive things to yourself is the way you talk to yourself. Those are called affirmations. So I think if you do struggle, like your self-esteem is low and you're having a hard time, you're like, I'm just not feeling good about myself. You could start with tiny steps, like put in notices in your calendar, throughout the day, a couple times a day, where you say, I am beautiful, I am smart, I am wise. Just that simple sentence and just repeating it in the mirror. And I went through this myself because someone told me this exercise and I'm like, this is kind of corny. And then I remember saying, okay, fine, I'll try anything, right? So I was like, let me try, because I can't tell people to do stuff I haven't done. That's not
true.
So I started doing it and I was like, whoa, I would stand in the mirror and say it. And at first it was very awkward, but then over time I got more empowered, and my body language and the way I carried myself and the way I started feeling just totally like it shifted over time, because I'm feeding that to my mind. And, it's kind of like, raising kids or having siblings. You know how parents sometimes will be like, well, he's the bad one and she's the smart one.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. Like if you do that to your child, over time, that kid lives up to that belief system. But yet, if you feed your child like love, like you're going to be a leader, you're going to be an engineer, or you're going to run for president, you put like, if you instill these little like positive isms in your children, they morph and live up to that. So I don't know why people think that shifts with us as adults. Like it's the same thing. What we tell ourselves is what we become. If you say you're never going to have anything, you're always going to have bad relationships, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, because already mentally you've put that in your mind that that's where you're going to land, and that's where you likely will land, because you'll consciously already have it planted there, and then consciously when those situations come to you, you go in that direction. So the mind and what you put into the mind is like mind food, and it's important to put the right food into it, just like it's important to feed your body the proper food.
You did mention that you were once married and you also raised a child, being single as a single parent. Is there any advice that you could give anyone that may be going through the process of getting a divorce, or just maybe a single parent, especially for the ones that may be transitioning from being married to becoming single again and having children? Is there anything that you could possibly tell them that would help them during this process?
I think like know that, divorce can happen to anyone, and it is a change of pace, and it is hard. It's a hard adjustment. I think it's hard because no one gets married to get divorced. You go into it thinking it's going to be forever. But sometimes things happen, life gets in the way, people change, and it doesn't last. So while it feels very uncomfortable initially, over time you will ease into it and you'll learn how to adjust through different things, and it'll be a learning experience. And I think if you look at it more as an adventure, like what's next, what's coming, and if you journal through the process, like, for people that I coach who go through divorces or breakups, or who are contemplating divorce, because it could be financial ramifications, it could be just, they don't want to be alone. They're used to, co-opting, or I don't even know if that's a word, but being with another person. I always say to them, okay, write down the benefits of staying in this relationship and the benefits of leaving this relationship. Because when you put things on paper, it just gets more you get more crystal clarity to it, right? And
Right.
so I think if you're going through a divorce, contemplating a divorce, when you're having bad moments, journal it, write it out. I think if you feel sad, feel sad. Just don't languish in it, but have the moment. Because I think those moments are real, and the people say they're not being realistic about divorce. It's hard. It's one of the most stressful things you can go through. I think looking at the positives of the divorce, the benefits you're going to gain, even if it's like, okay, but it was more stability, it was more this. Okay, but are you going to have peace of mind? Are your kids now going to see you possibly be in a healthier relationship in the future? You got to look at the other benefits, or the fact you have kids with this person, and that's a positive that came out of the divorce. Because I think people think divorce, they think negative, but there still could have been a couple that had a good relationship run. Things were great. They had kids, they had good experiences, but it just ended. It just didn't work out for the long run. So I think we get so stuck. And I hear this a lot with people, like, I don't know how I ended up with this person. And I'll say, well, what did you like about them? Because there's something that brought you to that person initially, but something happens when things go negative that we just totally focus negatively. So I think even in those situations, just realizing that while it's going to be difficult, that it's an opportunity for you to grow. It's an opportunity for you to be more independent, to learn how to be resourceful, to learn to recognize your own strength, to get time back with you. Because when you are in a relationship, you are usually dedicating a lot of time to your partner. So this is a chance actually to reconnect to yourself as well,
Right.
to recalibrate.
During the time of that you transition, um, was there a time that you just felt like you wouldn't be able to move on, that it was just so hard? But then there was a time that you picked yourself back up. Like, how did you pick yourself back up?
I just remember, like, and it's been some time now, but I just remember feeling like, man, it's this is so hard. How am I going to do the little things? Like, I had this husband that took care of the household, duties, as far as like fixing things. And I remember being so excited when I could plunge a toilet, take out the garbage, like really silly things, but I would kind of celebrate it and be like,
Yeah.
wow, I could plunge a toilet. Like, I was all on that for a minute. Like, wow, like I thought this was so much harder. I could put things together. And so, yeah, it is a different roadmap. I'm not going to sit here and say it's, easy all the time. But I think if you look at it like, man, I didn't know I could do this, but now I'm able to do this. I think it'll give you that like confidence in yourself. So even when you do get in another relationship, you will approach that relationship a lot differently. You'll have a better sense of yourself and what your abilities are. And I think it also protects you from relationships that aren't a fit, because you've had that experience, right? But I would say for me, like, the toughest was just that adjustment period of not having someone in the house, not feeling like, I don't know, it is something about when you have a man around, you feel protected. There's a reason that we are drawn to relationships, right? That's a
Right.
form of it. Women look from it from an emotional safety provider um, perspective. And so when there's a man present, you do feel that like, oh, someone's got me, and you do
Yeah.
lean into this person. Those are real feelings. But I think also the other part of that is when you go through the transition, I had to learn how to be alone. I had my daughter, but I had to learn how to like enjoy myself. And that was hard because I would be looking for noise, like, okay, let me have someone around, let me do this. And I had to like get past that period. And then I got to this period where I started like a solitary a little too much. So I had to balance that out too. But I got to a point, I was like, I really like kind of being by myself. I like going to the movie by myself and no one's talking through it. I like going out to eat and kind of just observing. And people were like, people do look when you go by yourself sometimes, but I found like it empowered me. Like I actually am cool with this. And I'm interacting with more people and having a different experience than if I was with someone where I would be more focused on them,
Right.
So I think there was just a lot of growth. I looked at it more, even though it was hard, I looked at it more like, man, there's all these things I'm learning about myself that I had lost by being in my relationship a little bit, and it wasn't my partner's fault, my ex-husband, it was more me just putting that energy there and not balancing that energy. So even though I went through these difficult periods, I think focusing on the learning again kind of helped me to retool and be like, oh, I could do this. And it gave me more confidence.
Ooh, you need to be my life coach. Oh my goodness. I do, because I know that we're probably wrapping up on time. So where can everyone reach you? I know that I follow you on Instagram, and I know that you have a podcast that I saw on there as well. So what is your platform that everyone could possibly follow in order to get going on living their best life as well?
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a couple of things. I'm going to put my book up here. I do have a book. It's called Love You and He Will Too, The Smart Woman's Roadmap to Happy, Healthy Relationships. So that's on Amazon and other, book channels if people are interested in that. That's like a quick guide if someone really is looking for like some tools and instructions about like, okay, how do I practice self-love? I have a website called thenewrulesofdating.com. And on that website, I write a lot of relationship articles around self-love, self-care, codependency. And then my platform as far as social media, I'm on Instagram under The New Rules of Dating. I'm on Twitter under The New Rules of Dating, and also on Facebook under The New Rules of Dating. So, check me out. People send me messages all the time. I love it because I know there's people out there. I just told Jessica that I'm like, sometimes I'm like, oh, okay, people are like reading this. Okay, that's good. Because I still want to know that, what I'm doing is helping people. So when I get that feedback, it's like, okay, that feels good. And so just know that I appreciate you guys too. You help me to be better at what I'm doing.
Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And thank you. I really hope that you can come into one day. I have my own TV show or something, and you can come on there.
Your own TV show. I think it would be great. Like you did a great job of talking to me today. Like I enjoyed this whole process. I told Jessica, she was like, I'm excited to talk to you. And I'm like, I'm excited to talk to you.
I'm so excited.
I think it's cool when someone has reached out and say, hey, can you talk to me about this? And I love this. Like you can tell this is my thing. But I'm honored to be, talking to you, and I can't wait to see all the great things you're going to do too.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for taking out the time too as well.
No problem.
Again, you can find Miss Elizabeth Overstreet on thenewrulesofdating.com. Also on her Instagram, The New Rules of Dating. Her book, if you care to buy it off Amazon, the title of it is Love You and He Will Too. The Smart Woman's Roadmap for Happy, Healthy Relationships. Thanks again for tuning in. Love y'all. See you next time.